Hello and welcome back for another episode of this season of Try This on Wisp Sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kirstin Lauritzen, and we have another special guest with us today that I'm so excited. We have Olympian Ilona Maher. She goes by Lo. She also actually has a podcast on Wisp Sports called The Lion's Den, and it's all about rugby. Lo, welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you today.
I'm excited too. I will say my podcast is The Leo's Den.
The Leo's Den, sorry.
Okay.
Yes, but your pictures are female lions.
Yeah.
So the Leo's Den. Yes, my apologies.
No, you're all good. It's just because my teammate and I are two Leos and we're just too classic, just too much Leo at times. So we went with that.
I love it. That's amazing. Well, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? What's your background? Rugby. You play the sport of rugby. Who are you?
So I'm Ilona. People call me Lo, as you said. I'm from Burlington, Vermont. I've been an athlete all my life. I played field hockey, basketball, softball in high school. If there was a sport, I probably tried it because my dad told me to. And then I made the late decision. I decided to play rugby my senior spring of high school, and it just turned out to be very good at it. And I decided it was something I wanted to pursue in college. So I went to Quinnipiac University. I got my nursing degree there. And senior year, I was like, I want to go play for the USA team and, pursue this Olympic dream. So recently I just went to the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. And while there, I became kind of a TikTok, sensation just by showing what life was like inside the Olympic Village. People really loved it and loved seeing just an Olympian be herself. And now I just play rugby for a living, which is an absolute blessing.
Oh, I love that. So what's it like playing rugby as your main thing that you do?
Sometimes I take it for granted because
sure.
Not many women get to play a sport for a living, and sure. You never know women plans like, I want to be a professional athlete. That's just not on our radar. You could love a sport so much, but it's just not really sensible to think that. I am so honored that every day I get to go in, play the sport I love with girls that I love as well. And I love to hang out with them every day. And I get to make my body better and constantly work out and train in the sun and have fun. It's so fun. And, recently I've been driving into work like pretty early. I have to go into like 6 a.m. sometimes. And I'm like, oh, why am I up so early? And then I see the sunset and I remember what I'm going to do. And I'm like, dang, this is awesome.
I mean, that is really cool.
It is really.
So this podcast is normally about triathlon, but we're expanding and bringing more athletes in to hear about what it's like to play in just different sports, but also talk about nutrition. But one of the things that is so common with triathlon is that you're usually by yourself for like the majority of it. So it's really cool to hear that, playing with a team. Sometimes I think, especially in my past, I was actually better in the like solo sports than I was on a team. So it's also really cool to hear that the experience can be a good one to be an athlete on a team.
Oh, absolutely. I've never played a solo sport before.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the only thing I think is like in softball, I was a softball pitcher, and that is a lot of like your own hours getting better. But I've always been a team sport player. I don't know what it would be like to really have to motivate your own self and to do it, because I go in knowing like I'm getting better with my best friends, whereas really like those solo sports, you're competing against yourself and like making yourself better every day.
Yes. Yeah, it's very much so that way. Okay. So tell me a little bit about what does your training look like when it comes to rugby? What's a day look like?
I train 4 days a week and train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays off like today, and then Thursday, Friday. Rugby is a sport where you do need a lot of recovery time, and it does take a toll on your body. So on a normal training day, we'd have 2 on-field sessions a day and then a gym session. And it mixed in between, we have our meals and we have a lot of meetings, culture meetings, film meetings, mindfulness meetings, whatever it is.
Wow. Okay. So what does your recovery look like? What do you do to recover?
I'm gonna be honest. I could be better at recovering.
Okay.
But
we all could.
I just have I like to contrast bath, a good hot bath to cold bath. I'm going to be honest, more hot bath than cold. Stretching when I can. I'm a big walker though. I will go on hour-long walks. Like I'll probably go on a walk today just because I feel like it just clears my system and I just can think and I'll listen to music or I'll do something else. But I love walking to get the muscles going again so I'm not so stiff on my off days. Recovery to me is a lot of sleep. So I go to bed pretty early. Last night I was in bed by like 9. I just kind of think like I have nothing else to do. So why am I watching Netflix when I could be sleeping? Eating is big. I eat a lot and I am really careful, not too careful, but I like what goes into my body and I want to like what I eat because food is such a comfort for me and it's so important to me. And then sometimes I ice my leg. That's pretty much it.
Okay, got it. Well, yeah, I mean, recovery is one of those things that I feel like we can all be better at. But it's also, as you mentioned, it's such a important piece of, especially being a professional athlete, but for all of us that do any type of sport, prioritizing at least resting is a pretty critical piece for sure. So tell me a little bit about what your Olympic experience was like. I mean, that's just such a cool thing. You made it.
Yeah, it's super cool to like dream about something for years and years and finally made it. But it was an interesting time in that I didn't fully believe I was going to the Olympics until we were literally driving to the Olympic Village in Japan because you were in 2020 and it got canceled. And so you were so afraid to get your hopes up and be like, oh, into beginning of 2020, I put on my goals page Olympics. And then I didn't put on my goals page for 2021 because I was so afraid it wouldn't happen and I would be setting myself up again for really big disappointment. But it was altogether an amazing experience and Japan did such a good job with it that they're able to put this on and still make us feel special and like Olympians, considering there's a whole pandemic raging outside. We got tested every day. Once you were in the village, it was like this kind of little bubble, but you wore masks everywhere, but I still got to talk to a lot of Olympians and meet a ton of people. I do remember the opening ceremonies, there's a lot of waiting. So you wait for a while and you're down and deep in like these, like not caves, but like you're going through the parking lot or whatever. And you're so hot. You're wearing your mask. You're wearing all this polo suit and you get so excited because I've always watched the opening ceremonies. I love it.
Always. It's like the best.
Yeah, truly. I always still remember, like, I remember the feeling of sitting in my living room during the Olympics in China, Summer Olympics in China years back. I'm not sure which one it was, but I feel the sun on my face watching those opening ceremonies and how amazing it was. So I was so excited for it. It was a little bit as we walked out, I'm like, and then you see no one's in the stands and it was like, okay, but I knew my family was watching back home. I knew that this is what had to be done for it to be possible and put on the Olympics. But other than that, it was great. One thing I thought was interesting is that you had to be out 48 hours after your last event. So usually you can stay at the Olympics for like 2 weeks afterwards and you get to enjoy and watch all these games and really feel the Olympic experience. But for us, it was like, all right, you lost, get out. So that kind of was tough instead of really getting to fully breathe in the Olympics, I think. Yeah,
that is an interesting part of that, doing that in a pandemic. Well, I think we all knew that it was going to be kind of, just a very different experience since you didn't have, people in the crowds there. But as you said, it was really neat that they were able to still put it on. So for example, especially with like triathlon, like so many of the big events have been delayed. Like Kona hasn't happened for a couple years now. A couple of other races that I follow haven't, like big races, like have not happened. So now they have these like long lists of like athletes that are like ready to have these, big experiences at like Kona and the Norseman and, a bunch of these big triathlons. They just haven't happened. So they're all like backlogged with a bunch of people. So it's nice that at least they were able to put the Olympics on and make it as best of an experience for you as they possibly could.
Yeah, I'm so thankful for them. I think I'm so lucky. Like, I love Japan, which is really sad. I would love to have gone out, experienced Tokyo. But if there was ever a place that would host a Olympics during a pandemic, Japan would be the one able to do it and do it perfectly and so well. So that worked out well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll be right back after this short break, and we're going to dive into nutrition. Okay, so we're going to talk all about nutrition because this is my jam. So no pressure, but let's start with what do you generally, I know you mentioned that it's really important for you to keep food as a good experience, right? Like you don't necessarily want to restrict a whole lot. So like just generally speaking, what does nutrition look like for you?
Yeah. Interestingly enough, today I'm filming a What I Eat in a Day video for my YouTube channel.
We'll share it.
So nutrition for me is very varied, I guess. I like to eat a lot of different proteins, a lot of different vegetables, a lot of different carbs. I find that eating the same thing every day can get very monotonous. It can lead to results and it can lead to looking a certain way or feeling a certain way. But to me, I grew up in a house where food was a sign of love, and it's a joy. Yeah. You come around a table and you break bread is what we always call it. So food is very important to me just for my own mental health. So I guess I don't really think I give it up, but I maybe give up being very slim or looking a certain way because I think that I want to eat this and not feel bad about enjoying the little things. Like Sunday morning, I went and got a croissant because I was like, man, I want a croissant. Or today I'm going to go get a bowl or something. So in a typical day, I mean, I eat like breakfast, lunch, dinner for sure. And then a snack in between, 2 snacks in between, and then maybe something at night. I always have to eat chocolate. That's my thing. I have to.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. So as far as like, well, I love that. So one of the things that I try to explain to people too is that in many cases we've sort of lost that connection to food. So I really appreciate that you have that as part of something that was really important to you, and you're bringing that forward from when you were a kid and growing up, because like cooking food and sharing food with, people and that whole experience is actually something that translates to, number one, getting like our digestive systems ready to go. Like it's the whole experience of smelling the food and chopping and dicing and hearing the sounds, all of that. And then bringing everybody together is a really big piece of us getting ready to eat. And it can be very much so like a ritual in some cases. And as you mentioned, like for your mental space and mindset, as far as just being able to have that as a piece of eating, like that's a really important piece. I think we've yeah. And then the second point that you made there too, is that also, yes, you're right. Like eating a certain way, like if you did like chicken, rice, and broccoli as like your standard meal for like many meals, yes, it works for getting results and for macros and all that jazz. However, the problem that I see all the time with that is that it's not diverse, right? There's not a whole lot of different types of foods, which number one is not very good for your gut and your gut bacteria. And number two can create nutrient deficiencies because it's in the variety that you get all of those nutrients. So I'm with you on that. I think food should be exciting. I think it should be fun. I think it should be an experience. And we get a little bit too crazy about food.
Yeah. And it's even so tough to, when you're on a sports team, like especially a team sense, because you're watching everybody else and you're seeing what everybody else is eating. So you're like, okay, well, she's eating that, so maybe I should eat that. Or, oh, she's not eating this, so maybe I shouldn't. So it's taken me a while to not compare what I eat to other people. And because we have all very different eating habits on my team. And it wasn't like one time when my teammates Naya, who I do the Leo's Den with, I was getting food somewhere and she's like, you need more than that. You're a big girl. And I was like, oh, you're right. I'm a big girl. I need to eat more than a lot of other people, because that's just who I am. I'm never not going to be a big girl. So yeah, they're eating just one thing, but I might need to eat 2 things because that's who I am. That's what my body needs.
Oh, absolutely. Nutrition is something that should be very specific and unique to you. Absolutely. Oh man, I'm so glad I didn't even think about that when we started this, but the comparisons of seeing your other teammates. One of the things I think that a lot of athletes or people in general do is they listen to podcasts, they listen to, or they see their friends, right? And they're like, well, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yes.
And then their friend may not look anything like them, or like that pro triathlete or that pro athlete may not look, first off, anything like them. And number two, may have an entirely different lifestyle. Like, they may be training, like you mentioned, 4 hours a day, multiple days a week. And then there's a lot of athletes that, are still competing at a very high level, but they also have a desk job where they're sitting for like 5 to 8 hours a day, and it's an entirely different scenario. So having your nutrition very specific to you is huge. Was it just kind of those conversations with your teammates that helped you kind of bridge that gap a bit? Or was there anything else that was really effective for you for realizing that like you need to eat for yourself?
I think we also have a great dietitian, Jackie.
Oh, yes.
Who we talk with and work with a lot. And it's so interesting because I have a great body, I have a really good body comp and I'm able to play really well at that body comp. So just having conversations with her and be like, it's so wild because when the scale says 197, I've played my best rugby games. And then, in your mind, you always want that number to be lower on the scale. And then I've been at 190 and I haven't played my best rugby games. And she's someone who is like, she's never told me to lose weight. She's told me to like keep doing what I'm doing, maybe change this or add this to that. But it's always, she's been very helpful to like just factually in numbers, you're doing great, but also like mentally you're doing good. I have a great best friend. My best friend's like 5'4". She's 140 something pounds. She's fit. She's compact, has abs. She is very restrictive in her eating. So I think we've really worked well to kind of balance each other out because maybe beforehand I was not restrictive at all. She's very restrictive, but now we've kind of come to help each other a little bit. And like she started to introduce even like dairy and other things in her diet because not just because of me, but like because of our dietitian and because of performance. So that's something is like right now I'm eating to perform, eating for function. I'm not eating for form.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And the focus on your performance is key. I have another example. In the CrossFit Games it was early on, Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet was super lean 1 year. Super, super lean. And she didn't, or no, actually, I can't remember the order of it, but she was very, very, very lean on 1 year and she didn't win. And then the next year she came back and she was, not as lean is what I'm going to put it as. And she performed so much better than the previous time. And so the focus of that is more on if you are, an athlete that your performance is critical. It's not about how you look. It's not about how you look. It's absolutely about how you're performing. And I love that you're able to tell just what works best for you. And that's amazing. Yeah.
And one thing I don't do now, which my dietitian told you was like, don't weigh yourself.
Oh,
Don't weigh it because that number isn't telling me how many tries I'm scoring, how well I'm playing on the field. It's not telling me how good I feel. So I don't weigh myself. I did weigh myself recently. We do weigh ourselves on tour, to get hydration and whatnot and to make sure we're still eating right.
Yeah.
So I weighed it and I was like, oh, interesting. All right, well, that's fine. But I've come to a point where I weigh myself and I don't think, okay, maybe I should skip this meal then. I'm just like, okay, that's my weight right now. How do I actually feel?
Yeah, that's such a good mindset. I love that. So, what's like a typical breakfast, lunch, dinner look like for you?
Yeah, of course. So, 2 eggs, or I just had 3 eggs today, actually. Eggs of some kind, scrambled eggs. When I'm training, spinach, peppers, onions, and salsa or whatever on it. Then for a carb, I'm a big toast person. So I might have 2 pieces of toast, oatmeal or something, potatoes. And then if they have real bacon, I'm going to eat real bacon because I love it.
Heck yeah.
I'm someone who I put creamer in my coffee. I can't drink it black. I think it's gross.
Yeah.
So I will put cream and sugar in my coffee every day. It gives me such joy. I can't stop.
Oh, I love it.
And then for lunch and dinner are very similar. It's a protein of some kind, usually maybe on like a bed of spinach. If there's a good vegetable I like broccoli or green beans, then I'll eat that. And then whatever carb is there, rice, potatoes again, toast even. I love toast, as I've said. And then during training days, I might have like a Powerade or half Powerade, half sparkling water, because that's just like a lot of work. And then usually I'll have like a snack at some time. I like hummus, carrots and crackers. Yeah. Sometimes I'll have chips and salsa, which is like maybe not the best, but I love it. And then,
I mean, I love chips and salsa.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I just, you got the amount of chip to salsa ratio is never true. Dinner, same as lunch. And then my problem was always after dinner, because I would always get hungry after dinner, and I would be like, no, I can't eat again. I've had my dinner, because in my house at home, we have dinner is our big meal, and that's where you eat. So when I'm here, I'm like, oh, no, I can't eat again. I just had dinner. Like I shouldn't. But then I end up snacking, and I end up like, I'll just have a little bit of chocolate here. I'll just have a little couple of these. I'll just have a couple of that. So that's where I always get into problems, and I still do it now. But my dietitian and I have worked on like having a high protein snack. So I'll try to have like a yogurt, and I put chocolate chips in the yogurt with like a fiber cereal. And that's what I started to eat with like tea or something. So after dinner is where I think I have my most problems, that nighttime. But I'm working to realize that a yogurt is actually better than 10 other little things.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, is part of that too, is it worse on days where maybe you didn't get enough food like earlier in the day? Have you ever noticed that?
I don't think it matters. I just think like I also am like so programmed to always want something sweet after I eat.
Sure.
And I have to, in that time, I have to eat something. So it could be. I'm not sure though. I was just curious.
Yeah. Because sometimes, if there's so many different scenarios, right? Like it could just be that's just your body's just wanting a little bit more right before going to bed. But having it, as you mentioned, having that protein there is actually a really great thing, because so many people will kind of go towards those kind of sugary carbohydrate based foods, but having that protein there with that, first off, helps your blood sugar. But second, it also will help your recovery as you go through the evening and going to sleep. So there's a multi-purpose for that. But then another scenario, and this is for people who are listening that maybe experience the same thing, right? Is like sometimes we are very restrictive on carbohydrates. You're not, but I'm just saying that
yeah, absolutely.
that if you are restricting carbohydrates and you're getting those sorts of cravings towards the end of the day, super common, that either maybe you skipped a meal because you're busy or whatever, or you're just deciding like that fasting is like your thing, or maybe, that you're just limiting your carbohydrates, but then you're noticing that you're just having these major cravings towards the end of the day. Those are signs that your body's like, okay, but you didn't feed me. So like, I literally need food. So please give it to me.
Yeah.
And so it'll like, your body's super smart. It will tell you what it wants. And it'll get it.
Yeah.
Somehow. But anyway, I love all of those things. What do you typically do as far as like, do you do anything for like pre-training, during training, after training? Do you have any kind of routine around that? I
don't. There was a time where I was scared of snacking, and I just tried to only eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, because like I felt like, snacks, I'm getting in unneeded calories. I don't need it. Now I've kind of had a better relationship with it, where like after training, maybe we'll have a protein shake or something like that. But we eat very right after trainings and like right before. So we don't need to do much snacking. During game days, I play a very interesting sport where I do 3 14-minute games a day. So it's like you have to get yourself up, get yourself down, get yourself up. So it's figuring out where to eat your carbohydrates, where, like, at what time should you do this? So that's kind of a science in itself. And that's something our dietitian helps us with, is like, we have our breakfast, then we do like a primer, and then we go to the field. And then like an hour before the game, I'm eating like pretzels or some sort of carbohydrate. More before the game, we're drinking 15 minutes before, like amino acids and electrolytes. After the game, I immediately get in like a little smoothie, and then we go to lunch or something like that. And that's when we want to eat like that protein and have our meals. But we do that 3 times a day. We're doing that sort of ritual.
Cool. I love that. That's pretty dialed in.
Yeah. I've been doing it for 3 years now. I still don't know if I have it perfected though.
Okay. Oh, it's a journey and it changes, right? Because it can also be affected by how much stress you have. It can be affected by how much sleep you got. I mean, yeah. But having it generally there and having that routine is also a pretty important piece because your body will respond to knowing it's going to get something right at certain times. So those routines are pretty important. Cool. Well, that's pretty much all I had for today. Oh, I actually am curious about supplements. What kind of supplements do you take, if any?
Fun fact about me, I do not take any supplements. I should start taking some supplements. But I have just found, and my dietitian does want me to get on like iron and vitamin D because that has been lower in my blood work, which is interesting because I feel like I eat a lot of iron, but every time it says it's lower, but I don't believe it. So I need to try to take iron supplements more and vitamin D supplements more. But for me, I don't take any supplements like creatine or anything like that, just because I feel like I'm performing well right now. I feel like I'm doing well. So I'm almost like saving it for when I like need it. And when I get older and I'm like hitting 32 and I'm like, I need something to get me going. So I've never taken any pre-workout. Don't take anything like that. I don't even really like protein powder that much because I'd rather just get it through natural sources. But I do need to take iron more. Yeah.
Especially if it's on your blood work.
Yeah.
Coming from
I just don't understand because I'm like, is this normal people? I think this is for athletes or something because I've always had good iron and now all of a sudden my iron's bad.
Interesting.
But I have to ask her if it's like, if they do a higher range for athletes or something, because my sisters were always the one who had iron deficiencies. And I was always like, suckers, you guys can't get up off the couch without passing out. So,
oh my gosh.
I just don't believe it, but I will try to take my iron more. And I know I got to take with my vitamin C or whatever. But I mean, I don't tell any difference. So
yeah. Well, some people can feel worse taking iron supplements. So part of it is just determining what works for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't, I know nothing, but I wouldn't ignore it.
I know. I
meant, I know nothing about your specific, life of, and your health related things, but, I'm kind of the queen of nutrient deficiencies. And so, I'm going to be the one that's like, listen to the blood tests.
Yeah. Listen to the science, maybe.
Yeah. But also though, there may be a level of iron and vitamin D that works the best for you. So you may not have to have the highest levels of iron that, it's considered good, but it might just be that you kind of operate well at a certain level. So just figuring out what that is, but I wouldn't wait until you don't feel well because it can take a while to get some of those levels back up.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's just my 2 cents. Okay. So where can listeners find you either on Instagram, TikTok, which I highly recommend because I'm a follower on TikTok ever since you began. And it's absolutely incredible. So where can they find you?
So Instagram, TikTok, it's at Ilona Maher. And then I'm starting a YouTube channel just to go over my daily life and show people kind of a little bit more in-depth look into me. And that's Ilona Maher as well. And all that can be found on my TikTok and Instagram.
Perfect. I'll also link that in the show notes as well. So thank you for being here, Lo.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So that's our episode for now. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to follow Wisp Sports on all social media channels and make sure to share this episode with anyone you think may love it. You can also follow me at Dr. Kirstin on Facebook and Instagram and drkirstin.com. If you'd like to reach us with any comments or questions about this episode, you can at info@wispsports.com. And you can always leave a direct message with us over on social media as well. Thank you for listening and I'll be back next week. Take care.